let's take our seats. It's a BYOC. Bring your own chair.
I did bring my own chair.
Yeah.
Or bring your own tablet.
Yeah. It's bring your own everything. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Come as you are. Ow.
To Torn Tuesday.
Have you ever gotten an invitation to an event or a party where it literally says, come as you are? And you know the rule. You have to wear to the party what you were wearing when you opened up the envelope and saw the invite for the first time.
I didn't know that. No one's ever explained that to me.
You never knew that?
No.
Because this is kind of like the way we're doing the show right now. Come as you are. We've got special guests coming to us from New Zealand on Skype. We have book giveaways. We have excellent prizes. Two signed copies of Ian Brodie's new location guidebook. Not this one, but the new one for the Hobbit films.
There's a new one?
Yeah, he did this best-selling book in New Zealand. Best-selling book in the country of New Zealand.
Yeah,
when it came out.
And they found all new locations for this new trilogy.
And they've got some fantastic new locations, like the Pelorus River, which we learned about when the dwarves were getting out of their wet barrels. And all that extra cool stuff that we learned about watching the extended edition. We've got a birthday to celebrate. We've got books to give away. And we have to parse through the clutter and the background noise so that you guys can make a smarter decision about which Desolation of Smaug extended edition you really want to buy. Do you want the iTunes download? Or do you want the more robust Blu-ray that has more behind the scenes?
Doesn't it include a digital version too? But it's
ultraviolet,
like ultraviolet or something like that.
Or do you want to wait and order the special Amazon-only version that has that beautiful little mini sculpture? Don't even know who or what is on the sculpt. We have to find out. Let's investigate as we begin our wonderful live weekly show.
We just got a text saying that book is already on her Christmas list.
No, I know. It's on everyone's Christmas list. As we begin our live show, Torn Tuesday.
Torn Tuesday, live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is right now. We're live at TheOneRing.net.
Right now,
live. Or you can watch on Ustream. Ustream has an app.
Better than dead.
And
our show is always live.
And you know, recently we've been putting all of our episodes up after the fact on YouTube, so you can find it on our channel.
Unless we get ripped apart by copyright holders who say, take that down, take that down.
Yeah, if you don't see an episode, that means it got flagged by copyright. I know, but also, most recently, where the show is available as a podcast, downloadable on your phone. On iTunes.
That would be audio only. The podcast, audio only, yes.
So you just go to iTunes and go to the podcast section and just search for The One Ring or TheOneRing.net or Torn Tuesday, and we put up every episode. You know, it's been so interesting. We've been getting a lot of feedback on the podcast. I'm actually kind of surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm actually kind of surprised how many people love podcasts and they
subscribe to them. Yes, indeed they do.
They're subscribing and they're listening to this show exclusively through the iTunes because they can't watch it live or anything like that.
Yeah. So that's a whole other way to enjoy the show. I'll try to keep my craziness to a minimum and not bust the sound levels on the microphone. Guess whose birthday it is today?
Whose birthday?
The venerable Shakespearean actor from New Zealand and good friend of mine, John Callan, who you guys know from the Hobbit films as Owen the dwarf.
Does Owen have any purpose in these movies?
Yes, absolutely he does.
Go ahead, because I don't know what it is.
He is the apothecary dwarf who has
English.
Yes, English, please. Didn't you read Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet?
I don't want British. I want American.
That's English.
What?
What
British purpose English, does he have in these movies?
American English, apothecary from Shakespeare, the character who sells the poison that kills the two kids by the end of the play. The apothecary is someone who would be a modern-day pharmacist. Or a doctor of medicine. I
haven't seen anything in the first two Hobbit movies.
Sure. He says in Esgaroth, when Thorin and everyone's leaving Lake Town.
Yes.
And poor Keely is so sick he can't even move. and Thorin says, "You're going to have to stay here." And Dean O'Gorman's character, the brother to Keely, that would be Feely. Feely gets really aggravated and says, "I'm going to stay here with my brother. My place is with my brother." And you know what Owen says as he gets out of the boat? He says, "My place is with the sick."
So he's in Lake Town right now?
He's in Lake Town tending to the wounds
So he's
of
the other
Keely
dwarf in Lake Town.
until Tariel shows up to add additional help to tend to Keely's wounds.
So, but
And don't you remember his dialogue? He says, "I've heard about the wonders of elvish medicine. This is the first time I've actually seen it."
So he actually doesn't actually do anything. Toriel's power supersedes anything. So he actually has nothing to do in this entire trilogy.
Well, that could be said for about half of the actors who are playing the dwarves.
And that's why they're not getting flown to the London premiere.
Let me show you a picture, guys. Our friend...
We're high tech, but we're also low tech. He's gonna put up his iPhone to the camera.
This is extremely high tech, don't you think?
If you say so. But
There you go.
a lot of the fans are up in arms that some of the dwarf actors, the Kiwi dwarf actors, are not being flown to the London premiere. And my argument is, a guy like that, John Callan, who plays Owen, that you're seeing on screen, he doesn't have anything to do.
Of course he does.
No, he has even
Of
less.
course he does.
I'm sure he has even less of a role in the third movie. There's so much going on, and people in the chat room right now are accurately saying that Owen is definitely my least favorite dwarf. Azog, the Defiler, says Owen gets eaten by Watcher in the water.
Yes, well, that means he will survive the Battle of the Five Armies.
Spoiler.
Owen is the brother of Gloween, and the writers, let's just talk about it from the point of view of the screenwriters. How much of a problem did they have with 13 individual dwarves, giving all of them distinct personalities and things that went beyond just their armor and their design, but things that made them more solidified characters who actually had something to do? In the book, we know that Keely and Feely are the youngest. In the cosmology of the movies,
Yes.
Adam Brown and his character Ori has now become quote-unquote the youngest of them. So
Yeah.
there are some changes, obviously. Tolkien never says anything about Owen being an apothecary, but we definitely know that Gloween has the greatest skill in starting fires. Tolkien says that, and that's why in An Unexpected Journey they arrive in that wet cave after the stone giants.
Yes.
And Thorin says to Gloween, no fire, and tells him not. So there are.
Put it up.
Yeah.
Look, I love
So-
John Callan. Did we see him at in Salt Lake this summer?
He has this badass quarterstaff that he uses in An Unexpected Journey,
Yeah.
and we get this bird's eye view right over his head, where he takes that quarterstaff and goes round and around, and
Oh,
huge
yeah, yeah,
circles
yeah, yeah.
around him, and he busts all these goblins down.
He's the Donatello of the dwarves.
And he has this ear horn, that gets squashed by
Yeah.
the goblins. And in the extended version of An Unexpected Journey, there's additional dialogue from Owen cracking a joke at the
Now,
great
I
goblin's
love
expense.
this character. I don't mean to rag on him on his
I love this
birthday,
character
but
too.
I love this character, and I love his portrayal, and I love that he's the Donatello of the dwarves. And happy birthday, definitely.
Happy birthday, John.
And from what we've heard so far, is that
What have we heard?
John Callan, along with the other Kiwi dwarves, including Jed Brophy and friends,
Mark Hadlow,
and Mark Hadlow,
okay, who plays Dory, and Adam Brown.
and Adam Brown.
Now,
Adam Brown is in UK.
He's in the UK.
He'll
so
be at the London
he'll
premiere.
be at Leicester
but
Square.
but
yes.
John Callan and Jed Brophy and Mark Hadlow are rumored
Mm-hmm.
to be flown out
To LA.
to LA for the Los Angeles premiere in the week after the London premiere. So there will be a big to-do red carpet celebrity thing
Here in Los
with
Angeles.
the Kiwi dwarf actors here in Los Angeles, and we
Now-
will be there. We hope to be there. We were just talking with Warner Brothers Publicity just yesterday. They don't have all the details yet. They haven't done any invites for the press, but we've been in every red carpet, have we not?
We have indeed. But how do we address the ongoing dissatisfaction of fans who are still asking me to circulate petitions, angry petitions, against Warner Brothers Pictures because these are all European fans, by the way.
Yes.
And they beseech me on Facebook saying, we want all of our dwarves at one premiere all at the same time. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I would like to promote your petition, but I'm not all that angry about it because you guys get half of the cast in London, and I, here in Los Angeles, I get half of the cast, and some of my friends who I actually know, they get to come here. And so I'm not so sure I want to be part of an angry petition.
No, and look, it's not about the money because we're about to give them extra $1 billion in box office. The Lord of the Rings trilogy total brought in $2.85 billion at the box office. That's excluding all the DVDs and merch. Just
They conveniently round that up to $3 billion.
Right.
$3 billion,
so
yes.
2.85. For the first two Hobbit movies, we're already about $2 billion, and this third movie promises to probably be the most successful of the Hobbit trilogy.
Of course, you have to adjust ticket prices for inflation.
You can adjust for ticket prices for inflation and HFR and all the blah blah blahs that they add to it. But when you think about it, flying everybody to the premiere, it's a lot of commitment. Not just financially, it's about $25,000 per person to get them to the premiere. By the time you factor in a $8,000 to $10,000 flight from New Zealand all the way halfway across the world to London,
there are 3 premieres indeed,
and then
there's 3
and
in a
then
row.
On top of that, you're talking about several days of someone's day rate, plus the cost of putting them up in a hotel in London.
In a fancy schmancy London hotel.
With everyone else. It's a lot to manage. There's a lot to work with. And,
it is.
We're about to give Warner Bros. A lot of money in our box office. So I'm kind of torn, but I don't think it's something to really rally for or against. There's premieres in...
It's not like Guardians of the Galaxy where there are only, 6 lead players, maybe 6. There's, 13 dwarves and 2 wizards, 3 wizards, and a hobbit, and several elves, and a whole bunch of, human men from Lake Town. There's a whole lot of cast.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there is.
So, breaking news today.
What?
A rough cut has been screened of the final Battle of the Five Armies for Warner Brothers, and
really?
The current edit clocks in at 5 hours. The current edit.
You've got
as
to be
it
kidding
stands,
me! Everyone has been saying, even in recent interviews, Mr. Jackson himself has been saying that this last film is going to be the shortest.
Well, he also said that they were going to do 2 movies. He also said this. He also said that. He also said we'd get a trailer in October. So you can't follow Peter Jackson's word at Peter Jackson at his word. But the rumor is that he's already committed to making a lot of edits and changes, and he's saying right now that it may clock in close to 3 hours, which may make it one of the longest Middle-earth films.
It can't be any longer than the theatrical version of Return of the King, which is 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Well, it's going to be under
theatrical.
3
hours and 19
So the theatrical
minutes.
Battle of Five Armies will be under 3 hours, but approaching 3 hours, because figuring you've got 45-minute Battle of Five Armies, you've got at least 25 minutes of Smaug battle, and everything in between to set up the Battle of Five Armies.
That's a long 25 minutes of Smaug battle.
Plus,
when he's already at Lake Town, and there's not that much for him to do. But,
there's not that much for him to do.
There's not much for the dragon to do except
destroy everything.
Strafe the buildings with flames and then get shot, get killed. What else?
Yeah,
what else happens?
But you have to break Bard out of prison. You have to get the dwarves to safety.
You have to get to the Windlance.
There's a lot to do.
After you find out where Bard's son Bane hid that black arrow in some crazy boat somewhere. Goodness gracious!
I think it's a 3-hour film. I'm ready for a 3-hour Battle of Five Armies. Plus, there is a lot of bridge material that we know was shot. We do know that they cast an actor to play Frodo's father. So there is a lot.
We also know that there's no more Elijah Wood cameos in the third and final film.
Correct.
Okay? So, let's bring it back. If there are 6 endings, what would they be?
Yeah, we just got a text message at the hotline, 530-64-FRODO, 530-64-FRODO. You can text us, and the question is, if there are 6 endings to Battle of the Five Armies, what would they be? Number 1, Frodo's parents dying. Or Frodo's something with
No,
Frodo's
that wouldn't be the
parents.
first one. Let's try to put them in order. First ending of the film, okay? Thorin's funeral. That's a pretty good place to end the film. Okay, there's an ending.
My friends...
That would be a proper
That would
ending.
bring more tears than My
Okay.
Friends You Bow to No One.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then second, and you know, we have some clues from the track listing on the
I
on
know.
the soundtrack. Okay,
The sound-
there's the return journey home. Okay, there's another ending when Bilbo arrives at Bag End and realizes that all of his personal belongings are on the lawn, and that Lobelia Sackville Baggins is doing an estate sale to try to get stuff out of Bag End. And there's an ending. And then what other possible endings could there be? Maybe our boy Balin and Owen and Ori all getting ready to go
to Moria.
Moria. And then another possible ending, because Christopher Lee said there is so much more of himself in the third film. We might have Christopher Lee beginning his search for the ring around the Gladden Fields. That could be another denouement. You know, that's the proper term.
Okay.
A denouement at the end of the story, which
Okay.
is like a tale or a coda.
Yep.
A coda to the story.
Yep.
So and then what else could we have? Then Frodo's parents, who may die, and then a whole thing where Bilbo has to adopt a baby Frodo.
Well,
If they compress the timeline,
I would love to see...
wouldn't that be interesting?
I'd love to see an assembling of the elves in either the White Council or just amongst the elves themselves, making the consensus decision that our time is over and we're not going to get involved in what's
Nice.
going on.
That would be great.
And
That would be
and I
great.
think Saruman decides then that
Well-
you guys can leave and I'll take over.
Ultimately,
or something like that.
the final scene that I expect would be a bookend with Sir Ian Holm playing the original older Bilbo, who's still writing some of his final notes, and in the Red Book of Westmarch. That could be it. Who knows? Speculation runs amok. But who was it who said it was a 5-hour cut?
That's the rumors that we're getting.
What's the secret? Who was the secret little bird?
We can't.
Where's the little bird that flew in and landed on your windowsill?
Well, it's posted on the front page of TheOneRing.net if you want to check out the website.
Always come to TheOneRing.net, our main page, for great stories, breaking news, and rumors.
I think
You guys know that's what we do.
You know, I don't think
I would expect if it's a really long 5-hour cut, he's going to trim a lot of stuff back to keep the suits at Warner Brothers happy.
And Gollum.
And Gollum, no.
Gollum needs to be one of the 6 endings.
We've been told that there is no more
Shire
Gollum.
Baggins?
No,
Shire Baggins?
Andy Serkis and others have said that there's no more Gollum footage. They didn't shoot anymore.
It's mocap. They don't have to shoot anything. It's all animated.
Okay, no, seriously. It would be really great to have Gollum reappear from his cave and start running around looking for Baggins and cursing under his breath. But you know what? I think that if there is a 5-hour cut, Peter will cut a bunch of stuff out, make it a 3-hour theatrical version, and then we'll have an even longer extended version next year. That seems to be the pattern.
That was a good question.
That is a very good question. But now, I want to warn you, I want to do a caveat emptor for all of you consumers out there who are ready to go to the stores today, on Tuesday, and you have to vote. For those of us here in the US of A,
Oh, yes.
it's election day, so sing out loud and sing out proud and go get yourself to the voting booth. Make your voice heard. This is your civil duty. A lot of people died and a lot of people suffered so that you guys could have the right to vote. Do not squander it. Now, my lecture is done. Exciting, but
What if there's only 2 endings and the second ending is to be continued?
No, please, don't even mention that. After you're done voting, you're going to run out to the store, and you're probably wondering, what am I going to do? Or am I going to download the iTunes version? Or should I order it on Amazon.com? Well, we don't have a grid prepared, but we do have enough information to say
We've tried to get information.
we're
not available.
always trying to get information from our friends at Warner Brothers Home Video. I bought the iTunes downloaded version, but the iTunes extras, and I'm doing finger quotes for those of you who are listening to the podcast.
They're listed as the appendices, aren't they not?
The appendices are not bloody complete. All the good stuff about Tauriel and the even better stuff about Dol Guldur
And Thrain?
and Thrain. Many, many, many beatings of my heart just palpitate, so excited and so happy that that really good dwarven history was restored to the extended edition of DOS. But when I watch my digital version on iTunes, I don't get to watch any behind the scenes about Thrain.
There's nothing?
And there's a lot of confusion to be cleared up. There were 3 different actors who played the same role. And there's a lot to look at about why Thrain was there in such a prominent role and then removed from the theatrical version. So if you want to learn all about that good stuff, you're going to have to fork out the money for a hard copy Blu-ray. If you've bought the iTunes version, you're screwed. You don't get any behind the scenes of Dol Guldur, Thrain, or Tauriel. Or, who knows what else is missing.
I know.
Best example, the director's and writer's commentary track, which I always find very, very helpful. And
Well, that's
very
always
good.
been a disc exclusive, but it was a complete shock. Like they don't advertise at all that there's extra BTS content. There's extra appendices because if you download the iTunes version, they're just called the appendices,
And they seem to be complete.
and they seem to
Well,
be.
there's
complete.
5 hours. 5 hours of appendices, part, let's see, where are we at now? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Appendices 9 and 10. Okay.
There's no
There's 5 hours of
mention
this
that-
and 4.5 hours on the other one. And
Yeah,
who knew?
It seems like an oversight. Again, creating such confusion, like what version to buy. Not only that, but there's exclusives to retailers. We're hearing that you can only get the DVD only. No Blu-ray, no HD, no 3D, just the old school Blu-ray, or just the old school DVD.
That's a digital video disc for those in the know.
That you can play on any DVD player.
Yes, and any old computer.
That's only available at Walmart.
Only the Walmart store has the DVD
Only
of the
Walmart.
extended version. And who knows if it has any behind-the-scenes stuff on it at all.
It does.
It does?
It's 5 discs.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's a 5-disc. That's because DVDs don't hold as much information.
Right. So
Okay.
the DVD is only available at Walmart, which, you know what, it makes sense if you think for most people that haven't upgraded to Blu-ray yet or high definition television, I think it makes sense just to have that as a Walmart exclusive. But there's other exclusive. There is an exclusive.
Why would you buy anything in low
With-
def? Why would you want to look at all the visual effects and look at them in standard def?
A
Why
lot
would
of
you
people
want to do
don't have high definition TVs.
that? Well, the times, they are a-changin', as my friend Bob Dylan once said. I mean, all the new delivery on Netflix and online streaming services, not only are they high def, but they're switching to ultra high def. A lot of the content has changed. All of my Time Warner cable channels have all upgraded to high def. Everything's changed. So I recommend getting the Blu-ray. It's just
But there's also other exclusives. Like there's a version that comes with the Key of Erebor.
ooh, is that the Amazon exclusive?
I don't know. No. Amazon has a statue.
A statue, yes.
Yeah. So
Well, let's take a look and see what kind of a.
so far we know that the 3D version, which is most people don't have 3D televisions.
I
But
do love Blu-ray 3D.
3D
I love that kind of technology.
is available at Barnes and Noble
Mm-hmm.
and Target
Mm-hmm.
and Best Buy, as far as we know. Aravande in the chat room asks, where can I get the extended edition carved in tablet stone? We're looking at that. We're waiting for fans to tell us where they're getting it, because there's a lot of people that are trying to get the one with the Key of Erebor, the one with the statue, And who's the...
Here we go. The Hobbit Desolation of Smaug Extended Edition Blu-ray, Amazon exclusive. And you know what? It looks like there's a bunch of...
For $89.95.
The statue is a little scenario with a bunch of dwarves soaking wet in the barrels. That's what it is. Take a look at that. And it's on sale at... double tap to zoom. There they are. The extended edition has Bilbo, Keely, Thorin, all in their dwarves. In the old dwarf environment. Oh, look. That's it. See? There it is. Right there.
Yeah.
So it's a little bust, and I think there's only 3 characters. Bilbo, Thorin, and Keely. And it was designed and created by our friends at Weta Digital.
Is Fran in the commentary?
No. If you guys have seen any of the behind-the-scenes for An Unexpected Journey or Desolation of Smaug, I'm sure some of you have already seen the extended edition. You'll notice that Fran Walsh, Peter Jackson's wife, is always quite conspicuously off camera. And the folks who were filming behind the scenes, they did their very best to keep her out of the frame. People turn and talk to her, and you hear her voice off the frame. You know she's there in the room, but she's never on screen, and she is no longer participating in the commentary tracks. In the last film, it was only Philippa and only Peter Jackson together that did the commentary track.
Interesting. Did she do them on the Lord of the Rings? Was Fran on the Lord of the Rings?
I'd have to go back and look. I'm sure.
You know, there's interesting comment just came in on the chat or on the text 53064 Frodo. Netflix does not have The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey Extended, which is why I haven't seen it yet.
No, Netflix will never have an extended version. Netflix would only carry theatrical versions of films.
You know that...
with the odd occasion...
Why don't you have it yet?
With the odd occasion of World War Z shows up with a director's cut. But it's very unusual for Netflix to have any extended versions of anything.
Why wouldn't you have the extended edition yet in any format? But
it's been a year. It's
an interesting topic to how people aren't buying DVDs because they expect it to be on Netflix. And in fact, here's a hardcore fan. Yes. Here's an ultimate fan that has been with us for many years. We know she's legit and one of the hardest core Tolkien fans, and she has refused to buy the DVD or the Blu-ray of an Unexpected Journey Extended Edition, expecting that it'll be on Netflix. And I think that's one of the problems that these streaming services have put on content. You have a movie that people love, people are passionate about, people want to see, and people aren't buying the movie.
Yeah.
Aren't buying the DVD on Amazon or whatever because they expect it to get it for free
on Amazon Prime.
On Amazon Prime or Netflix. And you know, the same thing happened with music. I mean, there's a big deal about Taylor Swift pulling all of her music off Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She thinks her songs are worth more than 99 cents to stream.
But then on the flip side, you have bands like U2 giving the world
a whole album for free,
even if they didn't want it.
And they didn't get as many downloads with that free album as they thought they would. Which left me scratching my head because it was such an excellent album.
And you've got people like Trent Reznor who are like, kind of pissed at U2. They're like, dude, we make our money making music, and you give it away for free. So Hollywood must have this weird thing, like the fans, hardcore fans, have this expectation that everything's going to end up on Netflix eventually. So why pay for it? That's rough. That's a rough thing to be.
It is. It's a difficult place to be. Fans are trying to figure out how to be fans and how to be smart consumers at the same time.
Yes.
And it's sometimes a struggle to have the left hand meet the right hand at the same time in this journey. Now, a text from our friends in the United Kingdom. And our fan here on the hotline has just said, we only get the plain, boring Blu-ray, 3D, and regular DVD here in the United Kingdom. It looks like if we go to get it from Germany or the rest of the European Union, there's more choice. How about that?
Well, it's the same thing we saw with the last movie. I mean, we had this whole chart and spreadsheet of how many different versions.
That was a nutty chart.
Yeah.
That was a nut.
And it's happening again.
How hard was that for you to put together?
Oh, it's all over the place. There's 10 columns.
There's a lot of fragmentation in the home video market, and that's a sign of, the times they are a-changing. Absolutely. Hey, before we move on any further, we have friends who are watching the show. Hey there, Max. Thank you for joining the show.
Hi.
We have friends who are with us at this past weekend Kamikaze event.
Ooh, that was fun.
The Stan Lee Elvira Comic-Con Spectacular in downtown Los Angeles, where we, TheOneRing.net, had our very last panel of the year at any major convention.
Yep.
Representing fans and talking to them about what we'll expect in the upcoming Battle of the Five Armies. But you know what? Most of the conversation was also about what did you like or what did you not like about Thrain and the extended edition of DOS. And I want to say a shout out to those great fans and the great costumes we saw. They all came along and they were in full force. I've got a picture of Party Thranduil. Can't wait to show you. He's such a great
Kamikaze panel discussion applies to this question we just got on the hotline. Hey guys, do you think Feely will get more screen time in the next film? Yes.
Keeley?
Feely.
Yeah, well, perhaps. Well, perhaps.
Yes. And if you saw Mr. Sayre's tweet a couple days ago, he says this movie is mostly about Thorin, Thranduil, Feely, Keeley, basically everybody, and maybe a little bit of Bilbo. That's wonderful.
Sayre Thranduil?
Yes.
And that was followed by...
Party Thranduil. That's so good.
You guys want to see a great picture?
Show the people at the camera.
This is my buddy Alcuin. Alcuin, if you're out there watching the show, glad you're on board. A very cool Anglo-Saxon name, Alcuin. A name that Tolkien would have loved. Here you go. Check this out. Here's our boy.
You know, I haven't seen it. Look at that. The Thranduil costumes are just so wonderful, and I think he's going to have significant more people. Thranduil fans are going to love Battle of the Five Armies. That's what we know. He's going to do a lot.
It became. I don't know if you guys can see this. Perhaps the camera is blowing out a bit. But then there was Party Thranduil. He got the party glasses out. It was so funny. We had a really good time at Kamikaze.
So have we seen the behind the scenes with Thrain? No, we haven't seen the new stuff that is not in the news.
Oh, can I say that the behind the scenes that I saw on the iTunes version includes a whole interesting piece about the Woodland Realm, and we see
really
2 deleted scenes, completely deleted, that were never restored. Not even restored in the extended version. And you see more dialogue with Thranduil and some really interesting pieces they were doing. But, I mean, I didn't see a separate, character conversation piece about Mr. Lee Pace and all that. It was just. I feel like I'm in a position where I have to run down to the store now and buy myself an extended Blu-ray.
That's exactly where they want you.
And I don't want to be in that position. I've already downloaded it for $19.99 on iTunes. Why do I have to go to the store and buy another one just so I can get these missing pieces? Frustrating.
Public service announcement: buy it this week. This is the cheapest you'll be able to find it because
absolutely
the first week of DVD and Blu-ray is always the cheapest. Every store is using it as a loss leader to get you into the store. Go buy it. Buy it as gifts. Buy it for friends. Buy it for Christmas. Buy it for presents.
Yes.
But go buy copies. All the copies you think you'll need for the holidays this week. It won't get cheaper, and we've seen it with every movie that's ever come out. It won't get cheaper after this week. So if you think you're going to want the extended edition Desolation, if you think you're going to be wanting to gift it.
Yeah, I need to pick up a copy for my sister. Definitely need to pick up at least one copy for my sister. And who else am I going to buy a copy for? See, the thing is, I know so many hardcore Tolkien fans.
That they already have it.
So I don't even buy them Tolkien gifts because they've already got theirs the day it's out. But let's see.
Question on chat, is Thranduil going to kick some ass in the next film? Absolutely. Everyone kicks ass. Even Bilbo kicks ass, and he shouldn't be, if I'm told correctly.
Well, we speculated on that quite a bit.
Yes. But unless Esme says, wait for 5 years, then you'll get it cheaper. I can't wait. Wait for 5 years. The extended edition of Desolation is the version of the film that we were meant to see.
I agree. For once in my life, I 110% agree with you, Justin. I was kind of, aggravated with the ending of the third act of Desolation of Smaug. But, after seeing what was added back into extended edition of DOS,
It's the movie that was meant to be.
it helps to mitigate a lot of the
It's
other
everything
problems
we wanted.
that I had with it.
We wanted the Beorn and how
Yes.
his role and why he's choosing not to participate in this little thing, and which makes his comeback all the more significant.
We definitely wanted to have more psychological motivations for Gandalf to do the things that he does, like suddenly leaving everyone at Mirkwood and running off into the distance. And the conversation with Beorn supports all of that, and you really do get under Gandalf's skin a bit more as a great character. And he's Ian McKellen. He's the best Gandalf we could have ever had.
and
the
if-
more of Gandalf, the better. And more Thrain, more dwarven history.
That's what made the Lord of
It's
the Rings
excellent.
films, the first trilogy, so powerful. Is that it was really about Gandalf. Gandalf sends Frodo and Sam on the journey, and the only reason they're on it is because they were told to. They're like he's like, I will take it, and Gandalf's like, all right, head that way. And but the emotional core of, because Aragorn loses faith, and Gandalf's like, come on, man. And then the king loses faith. He's like, on the third day, look to the east. Like everything is all about Gandalf. Gandalf is the guy that furthers all of the a lot of the emotion in the entire thing. Gandalf in Lord of the Rings is like, why won't you help us? You have to help Gondor. Well, you have to help us. So
Yes.
that was that Gandalf's motivations were missing from The Hobbit. The
And
first
now
two
they're
films,
fully restored.
and they're fully restored in this.
How about this opening sequence, which some fans thought was a little bit anticlimactic, but the opening prologue where Thorin has a chance meeting in Bree with Gandalf. Well, all the stuff added back into the extended version of Desolation of Smaug feeds into the entire Gandalf storyline of, what happened to Thorin's father, where's the map and key, let me help motivate you to go take your kingdom back, all that stuff. And I'm very, very happy to say that, I still...
It's a whole different film.
It's
Like
not, it's
entire
not,
scenes are completely different. The Thrain, the entire.
It's not a whole different film. There's still some of the exact problems I have with.
Look, I love the wheelbarrow of gold.
I don't dig that what Tauriel is doing is an exact shot-for-shot thing of what Arwen did. So it takes that kind of echo chamber of repeating yourself. Sometimes
That's what happens with prequels.
It's something that you have to watch out for.
That's what
as a filmmaker.
These filmmakers these filmmakers just, I don't know if they're trying to fulfill fans' expectations, but I feel fans feel like they're not given enough credit. With Peter, when George Lucas did his prequels, he connected a lot of things. Like, we didn't need to see 3PO being built. And we definitely didn't need to see it be built by Anakin Skywalker. We accept 3PO as he is in Episode 4: A New Hope. We don't need to know how he was built. We're already there. We're a thing. And same with Peter Jackson and this prequel trilogy with The Hobbit. We accept what Arwen does. We accept her magical powers. We're all in. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to show that it wasn't unique to Arwen, that every elf girl has this power. You don't need to preface that. Same thing happened with Ridley Scott and Prometheus. We don't need to see that. We don't need to see the birth of more aliens. Like, we get it. We totally accept it from the first movie. And so I think there's this weird thing about filmmakers, like, feeling like they have to connect.
I will defend Prometheus as strongly as I will defend Artificial Intelligence, which are two sci-fi films that get bashed so much by fans.
Undeservedly.
Undeservedly. I thought that AI was great.
And I think the prequel trilogy for both Star Wars and The Hobbit are very well done.
Prometheus was very well done, but it feels like an incomplete film because it asks more questions than it answers.
Yes.
But then again, let's get back to...
The extended edition versions of Lord of the Rings made those movies more complete. I actually agree with you. If you remember when The Two Towers came out, a lot of fans were kind of like, ugh, they didn't even explain that, or like a lot of fans Tolkien fundamentalists and fans that had never read the book were kind of like, this makes no sense. But when the extended edition Two Towers came out, everyone was like, oh my god, the extended edition, best ever, even better than the first Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, universally all Lord of the Rings fans do say that extended edition of Two Towers is their favorite, and still the most adored.
And
it's great stuff.
And we kind of feel, we see history repeating itself, and a lot of the exact same things are happening with Desolation extended edition. Here's the second movie of the Hobbit trilogy, and the extended edition is just so much better.
I have to say that I will never ever watch theatrical version of DOS ever again. I only want to watch
until it's on TNT.
Well, then it'll just be background. But I'm much more interested in the fact that there's more of that bird, the thrush, cracking snails on the rock. Even that small little touch. It's just so cool to me. And the fact that the Beorn scenes include the comedy that Professor Tolkien has in the original book. I love the added Beorn scenes as much as I love Thrain.
Now that the extended edition is out, there's two things I want to do. And if I had the time, I would edit it myself. But I think one thing, I would love to see someone re-edit the first two Hobbit extended edition films into the 1 3-hour film that it was originally meant to be. Because we do know that the original scripts had the first Hobbit film out of 2 ending when they get out of the barrels. Like that whole scene where they, at the end of the barrel scene, and they're getting out and they're drenching the thing, and then Thorin, everyone's kind of looking off in the distance. Like Bard wasn't in, Bard was like the first shot of the second Hobbit movie in the original script. The first Hobbit movie originally ended with them
straggled and wet
on the rocks, and that's why there's a whole set piece of them like wringing out their socks. Like that was the slow ending. So I'd love to see a re-edit of the first two films where you cut out all the junk that was brought in and just cut it down, cut out all the Tauriel love triangle, which wasn't in the original script. Tauriel was, but the love triangle wasn't. The glances from Legolas, all that stuff, get rid of, and I think create a tight movie, call it the Phantom Edit, and I think you'd have something really interesting.
The Phantom Edit. That's funny.
Call it the Hobbit, the Phantom Edit.
The Phantom Edit.
The unexpected edit.
Getting text messages right now from the hotline. Drew, our friend in Rhode Island, giving you a shout out. Hello there. Says he can't watch the show because the laptop is totally acting up. You got to fix that technology, bro. And greetings. Shout out to you. Good to have you. He just sent me a text with a YouTube link.
Okay.
Some of the entire clips from the behind the scenes of Desolation of Smaug are appearing everywhere on YouTube. Well, that helps solve my problem. I don't need to go out and buy a Blu-ray. I can just watch the stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
That represents the missing items.
While it's there.
While it's there, before it gets taken down by Warner Brothers. And another fan has just said, if you didn't like the wheelbarrow bit, you would love what Lego did with it in the Lego Hobbit game. They almost mocked it. Yes! Everybody loves what the Lego video games are doing with the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings world. That's really good stuff.
The other re-edit that I wish would happen is I wish an editor known for comedy. I'm talking like The Hangover or any of the early Bill Murray movies. Someone that knows how to cut
comedy
for comedy.
How about the Coen brothers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Farrelly brothers. There
you go, Farrelly brothers. That's a whole different level.
Anybody that cuts for comedy, I would love for them to take a stab at the first two Hobbit films, because I feel like Peter Jackson and Fran Philippa and Guillermo, who we know Guillermo del Toro has a wonderful sense of humor.
Yeah.
And a lot of his, several of his movies.
He does.
Like Hellboy has this total undertone of of sarcasm.
Yeah, I love their humor.
And
How about that scene where Abe Sapien and Hellboy are sitting there cracking open beers and listening to old Barry Manilow song?
Yeah,
I love that. Love that stuff.
See, Guillermo knows comedy. He does a lot of action films, but Guillermo really knows comedy.
Yeah.
So I think Fran Philippa and Guillermo wrote a funny script that is true to Tolkien's funny spirit of the original 1935 publication, 37 publication.
37, but there's a lot of the humor in An Unexpected Journey.
No, it doesn't
There's
cut
still
like
a
that.
lot of
It
humor.
It doesn't cut like that because I think, and then secondly,
A lot of humor.
I think the casting director, which Peter reused from Lord of the Rings, I believe, the same casting director.
No, that was not Victoria Burrows. They did not use the same casting director.
Well, he got a new casting director, but I think Peter did a wonderful, wonderful job, almost a perfect job, casting comedy actors. I feel like he got the funniest people. The Martin Freeman, funny on his own. Stephen Fry, who was the Goblin. Barry Humphries.
Yeah, Mr. Barry Humphries.
Barry Humphries. And then knowing that Bilbo and Smaug are supposed to have this very dynamic, kind of humorous dialogue that leads to tragedy. But that conversation is supposed to be kind of humorous, a subtle undertone of humor. And so he cast Benedict Cumberbatch, who has a wonderful rapport with Martin Freeman. The casting for comedy is spot on. I think the writing is there for comedy is spot on. I think the visual effects for comedy, again, the Donatello thing in An Unexpected Journey, the Bombur thing in the Desolation of Smaug on the barrels. There's so much comedy in these films, but the films do not feel funny. It doesn't feel like a comedy. There are points in Hellboy. There are points in Hellboy where I laughed out loud. The Barry Manilow stuff included. There's nothing. There's nothing that in these Peter Jackson edits of the first two Hobbit movies that is just like an entire scene cut for comedy. I know that the opening scene in An Unexpected Journey, the whole food party is supposed to be funny, and the song. But it's not cut for comedy. I wasn't rolling on my sides laughing.
No, you were just kind of winking and smiling and look at how charming
I think
this is.
Under the careful edit of a comedy editor and comedy directors, I think that the existing film can be re-edited into something that just makes you fall on the floor laugh when you're supposed to, and makes you heartfelt when it's supposed to.
Well, everything comes down to the editors, and at the end of the day,
the best example I can give, and I think that they totally a great example of missing the comedy mark, is when they first leave the Shire, and Bilbo gets his horse, and they all, they're taking bets, and he throws them a wet handkerchief. That whole scene where they're first on their ponies, right? There's a bunch of jokes. There's the joke about, we were taking bets whether you would come. There's the wet handkerchief joke.
There's a lot of Bombur slapstick.
Yeah, there's a bunch of jokes in that scene, and it just doesn't play for fun. It doesn't play for funny. It plays for fun, but it doesn't cut for comedy.
I laughed out loud when I saw the naked dwarves running around in the fountain in Rivendell.
That's funny.
I thought that was really funny.
Perfect. That's exactly.
I mean, Nori winds up a wet towel, Jed Brophy, and he smacks,
Emily
Aidan Turner on the ass with a wet towel.
Emily Cheatham says she sort of agrees with me, which is a first. Finally, people are agreeing with me. But all the pieces are there. It's a funny script with the funniest actors. I should have been bowling over with hurting sides with the Great Goblin. That scene should have just made me fall off my chair. Barry Humphries is one of the funniest people.
Yes,
and
he
the
is.
behind the scenes appendices, you can see him. He's got the entire set cracking up.
Yeah, he does.
Right? In rehearsals.
Yeah, he did.
On set.
I mean, he's Dame Edna.
He's Dame Edna. He is one of the funniest guys. And not once did I laugh at the Great Goblin. And I feel like if it was recut differently, when Gandalf goes, and he goes, well, that'll do it. Like, that would have been so... It just needs to be cut funnier.
I hear you. Noted, Justin. Noted.
Okay.
But I hear you, but you're going to have to wait a long time for those files to be out there, and then some editor...
They're out there.
Well, there's the third film yet.
Well, I think the first two films are the fun. The first two films are supposed to be the funniest. Let's get that out of the way. The first two films are supposed to be the funniest, right? Because this third film is nothing but tragedy.
Yeah, nothing but. And that's why I'd be surprised that it goes on for a 5-hour cut.
Well, that's a typical rough edit. That's a typical rough
5-hour film?
But I'm just saying that it's going to be 3 hours.
In the end, I think it will be. But Peter has said it's going to be shorter than Desolation of Smaug.
See, Tedder says, the thing is, I would even describe Lord of the Rings as funny. There are great instances of comedic enactment. Yet, The Hobbit is beyond funny. It's comical and in connotation that is vastly different. Yes, The Hobbit is supposed to be The Hobbit is supposed to be a kids funny. And I don't get that. I think they were trying to find a balance between the dramatic films of Lord of the Rings that won all the Oscars, and the comedy of a kid's book is The Hobbit. And that's a tough thing to balance. So they have a funny script and they hired funny actors, but then they didn't cut to it.
Well, you know, Peter Jackson can be quite impish. He can be very playful and impish in his instincts to put things into the film that include flatulence jokes and snot jokes and trolls blowing
that
snot.
Scene should have been but funny.
The stuff in Unexpected Journey stays funny because, you know, the chip the glasses and crack the plates number is funny and charming.
Yeah, the trolls should have been funny.
And then all of a sudden they start to shift the tone a little bit.
Yeah.
And Azog shows up and there's a flashback to the battle outside the
even Azog is written funny. Even Azog is written funny.
There's nothing funny about Azog at any point. At any point.
He's written funny.
How?
And he's performed funny. How many bad guys in the history of cartoonish bad guys have they killed their lieutenant? Even Jack
killed their lieutenant.
Even Jack Nicholson's Joker, he goes, Bob, gun.
Yes.
And it was humorous. You're like, oh my god.
And even Darth Vader says, I find your lack of faith disturbing. And,
Darth Vader kills like 2 lieutenants.
At least.
Yeah.
I get that.
So Azog, the first time we ever see Azog, the first time we ever see him, he kills one of his lieutenants. And that is straight out of the comedy playbook.
It is. It is
so funny.
But you'll notice
it's not edited, and you didn't laugh. You don't think he's funny. And I think he's written funny. He's just not edited for comedy.
All right, I get the point. But, you know, there's a lot less comedy to be had in the second film, and even less comedy to be had in the third film. Until we get back to the Shire. And Professor Tolkien had that change of tone in his original language in The Hobbit, did he not? He did. I mean, but the tone of The Hobbit begins here, very playful and childlike, and it goes up, and The Hobbit escalates very near the end, and it becomes high romance and epic, and then in the last chapter the tone changes right back to the Shire.
Justin is confusing funny with creepy.
That's
Azog enters the story to darken the tone. Oh, well, you need a bad guy, but
do you know?
You know that I feel like on paper, on the script, Azog has some funny bad guy moments. Like, I'll get you, Gadget, next time. You know, like, it's a bunch... basically, what you see in the entire Hobbit trilogy is Azog chasing them and just missing them. Chasing them, just missing them. You know, he's chasing them, and then they get to the Great Goblin, and Great Goblin's like, I know who's looking for you. I'll call for him. And then
there's a pretty penny for your head.
And then they go to Mirkwood, and then he misses them. And then they go down the river, and he misses them. And then they go to Lake Town, and he misses them. You know, like Azog could be super funny as a comedy, played for funny while still being he could like
definitely
Darth Vader.
Well, yeah.
One of the reasons people love Darth Vader, and he stood the test of time as one of the best bad guys ever, is not that he's totally evil, but he's just like, you know, you disappoint me, you know. And he just like he kills that lieutenant, and he's like force choking that lieutenant.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That's what makes a good character a great character, and Azog has all those.
Azog.
Azog has all those in the script. Plus, who's he played by? Manu Bennett.
Yes, who is very funny.
Who's very funny, and he's a very expressive actor, performer.
Well,
Manu Bennett, and what shows is he on? Is he on Arrow?
No, I don't think
No,
is he?
I forget what show he's on.
I'm not sure.
But like, listen, you get what I'm saying, though. I think everybody gets what I'm saying.
I do. I think we do get. But you know what? It is going to be a long while before somebody with those instincts and the time on their hands sits down in front of Final Cut Pro and re-edits the whole Hobbit film.
Simply Smaug says the troll scene was not funny. It was gross. I agree. It was not. There was nothing in the troll scene that was funny.
If you were 7 years old,
no,
you'd have
that's
very...
the Peter Jackson apologist. That's the George Lucas apologist. If you're 7 years old, you love Jar Jar. No, I'm not buying it. It wasn't funny.
Hello?
The trolls are
Don't
not
you remember
funny.
when we saw The People versus George Lucas? When the little girl was in the room and all the DVDs were on the table, the dad said, which Star Wars do you like best? And she picked prequels, and the same question to the dad, and he picked original. So there is a generational...
Brett McKenzie
There's a total generational gap in who absorbs and appreciates this stuff, these films, in different ways.
There's so many... like
There has to be some accounting for that.
And Lee Pace is hilarious. Can be hilarious. And you know he overperformed his character. You know they filmed scenes where he just overperformed.
We should see
like a stage thespian.
You haven't even seen the behind the scenes.
No,
where Lee Pace is just so
flinging open his cape,
so flamboyant and so funny. And
that could be funny.
He is.
That's not in the movie.
But Thranduil wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, he could be for a comedy movie.
Didn't you hear what Beorn said in the first 7 minutes of the film? The elves of the woodland realm are less wise, more dangerous. None of that stuff in the woodland realm was supposed to be played for funny.
No,
until you get the barrels inside.
Yes.
Then you get the barrels in the scene, and when the dwarves are in that scene with the barrels, then it's a whole other thing. Let's perhaps move our focus a bit.
All right, you guys get my rant. It's like in a shell of Lord of the Rings drama. The Hobbit trilogy is in this hard candied shell of drama, but there is a funny movie underneath,
waiting to be born.
Waiting to be born. Someone out there can make this.
Hello, this is a text message on the hotline from Tim, Simply Smaug, who says, "Hi, Cliff and Justin, love you guys." Hey, we love you too. Thank you for joining the show. Here's the funny bit. When Smaug says, "Step into the light. Where's the light coming from in the mountain? Isn't it night and the mountain is closed off?" Ha ha! Good point. What? I know, really, there was no interior light source in the book. Professor Tolkien definitely knows that there's no interior light source.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The only thing that lit the place was the red glow from Smaug's eyes.
There is nothing fun in Tolkien's text.
In Erebor, the film version, we have huge key lights. And off in the background.
Everything is well lit. You can see gold for miles, and even then it's
gloomy, but
it's greenish gold. Like they color timed this film.
They really reduced the color of the glimmer to make it be all that greenish gold.
We want that gold. Give us that gold back.
Yeah.
But you are the Tolkien scholar, and so do you think that Tolkien's original text, as published in 1937, is there an amount or a level of comedy or humor of subtext in the Smaug scene, in the Smaug and Bilbo scene? Does Tolkien's original text have a subtext of comedy and humor and play, wordplay? Yeah,
there's a lot of wordplay, and all of that wordplay is evident in the dialogue with Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's more evident in the cartoon version of The Hobbit.
Martin Freeman's character is trying to not get incinerated, and he's using his best wits and his witty remarks to entice the dragon with flattery. And it's just the way Tolkien wrote it, with, some changes. There's other changes where Smaug starts to return the manipulation by saying, your dwarf friend has measured the value of your life, and it's nothing. You're being used. And that isn't in Tolkien's original dialogue.
Yeah.
But other exact dialogue, word for word, is, I know the taste of dwarf better than anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the film. So the film presents a pretty 75% accurate,
there are little things,
scene between them.
without change. You wouldn't have to change the movie too much, but there are little things that would just make it a stronger comedy overall. For instance, every time Bilbo makes a one-liner in both movies,
Yeah.
he has a lot of great films. Martin Freeman is a very funny man. Every time Bilbo makes a one-liner, there's no on-screen laugh. Like, all we needed was his best friend Beaufort to giggle. Like, if every time Bilbo says something funny, there's Beaufort in the background going, and then Daring glances at the dwarves like, don't encourage him, right? So, from the first scene in An Unexpected Journey all the way to his dialogue with Smaug, the audience, us as the audience, would be prepared for the king of one-liners.
Well, I'm not so sure that that the tone of the comedy that you're talking about would be appropriate for the later half of the whole Hobbit story. By the time they get lost in Mirkwood, things aren't funny anymore.
But there can be funny. They carry a fat guy out of a river. Like, that's funny.
Except that. And you know what? We lost seeing that in the theaters. I'm very happy to say it's added back into the extended edition. Bombur, one of his funniest bits is when he falls right into the stream that they're not supposed to touch. Yeah. There's a little bit where, James Nesbitt picks up this pouch and he's like, a tobacco pouch. There's dwarves in this forest. And Martin Freeman says, because it's your tobacco pouch. We're running in circles. So there's a little bit of humor, but I love the way that Mirkwood is extended in the extended version. There's another thing that we want to bring up before our show.
Hold on.
Before our show gets a little bit too long in the tooth, there's another thing I want to bring up.
Hold on. Before we do that,
we want to do our book giveaways.
Yes. Before that, Ustreamer says, remember Justin had a rant on Feely and Keely not picking up the torch of comic relief from Merry and Pippin.
Okay, yes, I do remember that conversation.
How would that work up to Bofa?
Merry and Pippin were always there to bring the chuckles and the laughs.
They were always laughing.
They were the comedy
team.
Like,
if someone made a joke, there was someone in the background laughing. And that's what I feel like Beaufort could have been.
The salted pork is particularly good. I still laugh about that joke today. Even today, 15 years later, when Billy Boyd sticks his pipe back in his mouth and makes that jokey little Hobbit remark, and Gimli says, "Yeah, you led us on a wild chase." I just love that stuff.
Well, and they complete each other's sentences because even in their most famous scene, what's about second breakfast? And then the other one's like, I don't think he knows about second breakfast, Pip.
Yeah.
Like the Feely Keely.
Yeah.
I think Tolkien. You answer this. Did Tolkien write Feely and Keely to complete each other's sentences like that?
No, Feely and Keely don't hardly have any dialogue at all in the original book.
Well, the movies they could have.
This is why. That's why one half of our New Zealand actors who are playing the dwarves are barely more than background characters. As much as I love Mark Hadlow playing Dory, and as much as I love, his cousin Ori, played by Adam Brown, and my buddy John Callan, Owen, they all have less dialogue, and Bombur has none at all. The lion's share of all this great dialogue is pretty much given to Beaufort, James Nesbitt, obviously to Thorin and Balin.
He's got a great laugh, James Nesbitt.
Richard Armitage and Ken Stott. And, and that's about it. The rest of the dwarves, glowing, because he's connected to his son, Gimli, has more dialogue than, Nori. Jed Brophy and Mark Hadlow and John Callan seem to be the three dwarves who have the least amount of dialogue.
Gimli has loads of funny lines in Lord of the Rings.
And of course, Bombur.
And Glowing could have some great lines. And the few lines that Glowing has, he's hilarious. He's like, I'm not paying any more than I am. I started laughing at that. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Well, there's a total continuity problem with why the dwarves had any money on them at all. After they were searched and seized in Thranduil's halls, and after Orcrist was taken from Thorin, all their armor and all their weapons, and they were in nothing but their, undershirts. It's really kind of, interesting that the dwarves all of a sudden have bags of gold coins to pay Bard. It's the same tricky thing as where did the interior light source come from inside Erebor? Blah, blah, blah.
The beginning and end of this conversation is the script for The Hobbit is written for funny. The actors are casted for funny. They casted some of the funniest comedians and comedic actors in the world, bar none.
Yes.
But the movie does not play for funny. The current edits, as they are, don't play for funny. But the material is there. So moving on. Thank you for allowing me that rant.
Even Gollum has a little bit of... Gollum gets some comedy, but then he becomes super tragic by the end.
I know!
Here we go. Let's move on, because I need to turn on Skype, because we have 20 minutes left to our show, and according to the text messages, hello, Arana Undomiel.
Hello, Norway.
Hello, Norway. We have lots of fans who are here.
And we got a lot of buffering parasites.
We have fans who are in Rhode Island, fans in England, and we have a very special guest who's with us on the show all the way from New Zealand, and he's your friend and mine, Ian Brodie, award-winning photographer and author who is responsible for bringing us this fantastic gem of a book. It is called The Lord of the Rings Location Guidebook. This is super, super good.
And as we speak right now, the Hobbit Fan Contest winners are on a full tour of all of the locations that will be featured in Ian Brodie's new book, The Hobbit Location Guide.
I'm going to come up to the camera and I'm going to show you guys this book, because this is the gold revised edition.
Our own senior editor, Mr. Sear, is embedded with
Ian Brodie's autograph.
All the Hobbit Fan Contest winners, and they're actually posting on Twitter, and Facebook. They're posting all these pictures from all the locations that you will see, but photographed better by Ian Brodie.
Ian Brodie's a great guy.
He's a fantastic photographer too. So you're going to see Beorn's house. The location where they have Beorn's house. You're going to see where they filmed
Paradise, New Zealand.
Paradise, New Zealand.
Yeah, not far outside of Queenstown.
Yeah, you're going to see where the river was.
There it is. The Lord of the Rings Location Guidebook.
That's the original. That's the original book that he did. That was he's sold up very well. There's a new book.
It became the best-selling book in all the country of New Zealand.
Best-selling book in New Zealand of all time, and now he's got the Hobbit.
The Hobbit Location Guidebook. And he has, very generously, decided to partner with TheOneRing.net so that we can give away not just one, but 2 copies.
2 copies.
We have a copy for anyone in the world. He'll send it worldwide, and it will be autographed by the author.
He's personally going to put it in the box.
Do you know what's in this book? Do you know what he does? There's complete latitude and longitude markings for every location where the camera was placed.
He should make this an app. I want this as an app.
Oh, it should be. It should be an app.
It should be an app.
And it has all the amazing there's behind-the-scenes photos where, like the Pelennor Fields where that was shot. And here's more. Right outside of Skipper's Canyon is where they shot the Ford of Bruinen. I've been there. That's where Liv Tyler speaks to the waters and makes the waters of the Bruinen rise up against the Nazgul. And this location guidebook has available times and locations where you're allowed to have access to certain areas. It has exact locations that you can punch into a GPS locator.
Mm-hmm.
And locations of pathways, walkways, where camera tracking shots were running through the woods. It's so brilliant. Oh, wow, so good.
I'm just checking on our streaming parasites. It looks good to me.
Streaming parasites. All right, that looks great.
Yeah.
Let's turn on our Skype so we can see if Mr. Ian Brodie is in the house. And he can
You're
actually...
going to try calling him live
No.
on the air?
No, he's actually going to be live on the air.
This is crazy. This
Yes.
is so risky.
He's just sending me a message right now, and I just need to find him. I need to find him on Skype. He did send me another message on my Bookface to tell me what the name of his account is.
Just
let's
search
see.
if you're watching. All you have to do is search for the One Ring Net on Skype.
Yes.
Our name shows up as Barlaman Butterbur.
Here he goes. Ian Brodie says that he is going to be on. What did he say? He said his handle was something, and now I can't see. Oh, sugar.
Should you say that on? Can't you search for his email address?
I don't have any wireless connection right now. Beautiful tablet that I have, but my tablet has no Wi-Fi right now, so I can't connect. Okay, if you're on Skype,
His book is definitely going to be on our.
If you're on
Skype, our Hobbit Holiday Buyer's Guide.
Let's see. How do I do a search for Ian Brodie? Add people. I'm going to add a person, and let's search for him. Ian Brodie. Oh, there it is. BRO. There you are. Gotcha.
Geez, popped right up. It's like Skype knows you.
That's because he's actually sending me messages through Facebook. I'm glad you're watching live. All of you guys are around the world, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, America, South America, all around the world, live on this show at the same damn time. That is just too cool for me. I love how technology brings people together. He's in Matamata, New Zealand.
Matamata?
There you go. I just sent a contact request to you, Ian. I have just found you here. Very good.
We're trying. Well, let's see if this works.
We're so excited. And what methodology should we use to give away these two books?
Hey, it just disconnected me from the chat.
Did it really? Oh, you should reconnect. Here's Ian. Ian's live. And he's right there. That's great. Ian Brodie is live. I'm going to call him right now. Hello there, Ian. Hello, Ian, you're there. You're there. It's so good to hear your voice, sir.
Take your case off.
Ah, yes. Oh, there you are. Hold on. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my video off so that I can get better sound quality. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're live. You're live with us on the TheOneRing.net Tuesday show, and one of my favorite New Zealand bon vivants, man about town, Ian Brodie, the man who helped everybody find that exact spot where Viggo Mortensen kicked over that helmet and busted his toe right outside of Fangorn Forest. If it weren't for you, Ian, I would never have found that exact spot.
Exactly, and that's how I was actually finding those amazing places. And the same with the Hobbit.
Oh, this is so good. What you might do as well, Ian, and I'm happy to see you wearing your Game of Thrones shirt. Winter is coming, as always. This is very, very cool, but you might shut off your camera, and if we switch to audio only, we might improve the audio signal.
What I'm going to do before I shut it off is just...
Oh, look, he's holding up a copy of the new book.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh, what a beautiful edition. That looks fantastic. Wow. Well, I don't have that in front of the camera. Only I can see that right here, but
Take your case off.
let me just tell you something, my friend. There's a lot of excited fans, and I think that two of them are going to be pleasant, happy, surprised winners today.
I'm really pleased to get my 2 copies of the Guidebook. There are 2 different editions. There's the book that I just showed you, Cliff, which is the type that's available in New Zealand. The version that's out in the States through Amazon and Barnes & Noble, all those people, as a hardback. But I'm actually going to be posting the New Zealand version to our lucky winners.
Oh, I see. So there are two editions. The American edition, North American edition, is hardcover, and it's not the one that we're giving away. We have a trade paperback, and it's autographed by you, sir, is it not?
It will be indeed, and I'm heading off, of course, tomorrow to Wellington to see one of your compatriots at a media event.
Oh, how excellent. You're going to see Larry. Give him my best, would you?
Larry tomorrow, and he did a personal signed copy as well.
Oh, that is so extraordinary. This is very, very good and very exciting. Do you know, Ian, can I tell you how excited I am that there's more Christopher Lee in the third movie and that he features prominently in the new trailer?
I think that's fantastic. I missed him, and to see him back like that is just wonderful.
He is the greatest living legend of film actors. I can't find another comparison. He's just so wonderful. So we might as well start a little trivia competition. What do you say? And ask a couple of trivia questions, and whoever is live in our chat screen, and I'm looking at a very active chat right now, and I'm going to ask a couple of trivia questions, and then we can see who answers the question first, and that person will have to identify themselves, and they can email you directly, can they not?
Yes, I can indeed.
And it's okay for me to announce your email live on the air so that they can...
How about they text their answer?
Okay. Oh, how about they text their answer to the hotline instead?
And then we can...
well, not
take it from there.
everyone has... Our international fans don't have access to...
Yeah, anyone can text us at 530-64-FRODO.
Even if they're on an international phone?
Absolutely.
But they might have to pay international charges to text us.
This book is worth it. So 530-64-FRODO is the hotline.
So we're not taking answers in the live chat.
Yeah, you'll just we'll ask the question here. I think Ian should come up with some good questions, and the first person to answer correctly on the hotline, 530-64-FRODO.
Okay. Ian, did you hear that? We're going to ask a couple of questions, and we have an active live hotline, which is an American phone number. Again, it's area code
530-64-FRODO.
Number 6, number 4, and then the letters FRODO. That's number 6, number 4, Frodo.
Even our phone number is geeky.
Okay, yeah, we have a great geek phone number. Ian, my friend, let me take just a moment and let me come up with a devilishly clever trivia question. Why don't I base this first trivia question on your first book, the Lord of the Rings Location Guidebook, and let's ask if someone can answer, and whoever answers this, a lot of you folks might know this from watching extended editions of Lord of the Rings. You might know this from reading Ian Brodie's book from 14 years ago, where in the largest battle scene that was filmed in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, where was the geographic area where that was filmed? Send us your answer on our hotline right now. Whoever says the name of the geographic region where the Battle of the Pelennor Fields was filmed by Wingnut Films all those years ago.
That's not very Hobbity.
It is. Who's got it?
That's Pelennor Fields.
But where is it?
That's not in the Hobbit.
We'll do a Hobbit question for the second book.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. And you know the answer, Ian. I know the answer because I'm looking at it. It's right here on page 103 of your gold edition, your revised edition of Lord of the Rings Location Guidebook. Do we have it? Someone's calling the hotline,
Let's do it.
but they should not be calling. They should be
Hi, you're on the hotline. Hello, who's calling?
Well,
Send a text through your typical cell phone service.
You've made a voice call to us right now. If you know the answer, go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, I think so. right, we're still waiting on a text message to come in.
Okay, hold on. I lost Ian Brodie, but I'm just bringing him back.
Repeat the question for Aravandi.
Let's say that please don't call the hotline, but text your message in a text
What's the question?
to the hotline. The question is, what physical region in New Zealand was the location for the Pelennor Fields shoot in New Zealand? And there it is. There's the answer. It's Twizel. Are you there, Ian? Yeah, hello there, Ian. Yes, you can hear me now, Ian. Well, we got the very first answer, and we have a time code to see exactly who that was first.
Perfect.
So,
you got it.
all right, we're connecting to Ian Brodie again.
Yeah, get him.
You got it. Now,
Simply Smaug.
Simply Smaug is the first person who got the answer. It's Twizel. And here is the reason why, according to the location guidebook. The area around Twizel provided the perfect ingredients. The Ered Nimrace, the snow-covered mountain chain, grassy fields, a remote location with no sign of habitation, and a town nearby to provide all the necessary infrastructure and amenities. Yes, the answer was Twizel. That's where they filmed the Pelennor Fields. Now, excellent job. You guys are doing great. We have one more book to give away. Justin, you're in touch with our first winner. The answer was Twizel. Twizel. You don't have to keep sending in answers. We've already got our single winner already. Now let me answer this call from Ian. Hello, Ian. You're back live with us. How are you, sir? I cannot hear you, but I know you're there.
I heard something.
Yes,
There you are.
the marvels of
The marvels of modern technology.
Right.
Very good. Very good, Simply Smaug. Justin will be in touch with you. Justin, you can get
Absolutely.
our friend's
Here, let's try this.
address. And now, Ian, you hang tight. And Justin is going to try to call you from his phone.
57, right?
Um,
That is his-
yes, that's right. That's okay.
57? Yeah, okay.
Did you find him?
Let me try.
That's him.
Let me try on 4G LTE. All right, there you are.
I'm here. That's better.
Oh, that's much, much, much better.
Yeah, okay, great.
Much better. Thank you, 4G LTE.
Well, we got a bunch of text messages, all with Mackenzie County was one answer.
It's specifically Twizel was the
and
answer we were looking for.
Specifically Twizel.
Yes.
And Simply Smaug in the chat room. So we're going to get your details in just after the show ends in just a few minutes. Simply Smaug. We'll text back and forth with you, and then we'll email all that to Ian.
Yes, indeed. And we are getting lots and lots of other text messages, including a fan named Anno. Hello, Anno. Could you ask Ian Brodie how much is his book on Amazon? Well, it depends upon which edition you want to get.
The hardback edition on Amazon in the USA is something like about $20 or less.
Okay, about $20 for the hardback.
Excellent.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
And does it cover all of the scenes from the entire Hobbit trilogy, or just the first two movies?
It's just the first two, but that theoretically covers all three in some way or another.
Oh, I see where you're going with that, Ian, because like
Carefully worded.
very carefully. So according to what Peter Jackson has revealed in a lot of recent interviews, he said, I've got all the characters where they are. I don't have any more traveling to do. I'm ready to just dive straight into resolving the story. Right.
I can't confirm nor deny.
Well played.
I cannot confirm or deny.
In only a few weeks will we know the extent of this book, but I don't know. Unofficially, the One Ring, Cliff and I have a feeling that you get everything you need and want out of the Hobbit location guidebook. Now, are there any plans to make this into an app or some sort of ebook?
Yes, there is.
Oh, good.
It's something that I'm looking at, and in fact, a book that's going to come out late next year is going to be another version called the Middle-earth Location Guidebook, which is both the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings location guidebooks combined together into one.
Beautiful.
And that is going to be some form of an ebook, and in fact I have a meeting in Wellington with the publishers tomorrow to talk exactly about that.
Excellent. Well,
Okay.
I personally would love an app, not just an ebook, but like a fully functional app.
I would pay for it. I would
GPS.
pay money to down, and I don't usually download expensive apps, but I would pay good money for an app like that. I would. I really would.
Well, I think it'd be fun, and I'm sort of thinking of all sorts of ideas about being able to photograph yourself in a location and then CGI the background in. So it does look like you're standing at Minas Tirith or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Early days.
That would be wonderful. You know, to tell your publisher that there are many fans that want that.
Definitely. I have to say, unfortunately, Emily, our dear Emily,
We're already on Skype with Ian Brodie.
We have other fans who would like to Skype in on tonight's show, but our special Skype is, I believe, fully dedicated to special guest author and award-winning photographer Ian Brodie. And can I also say, friend and scholar. Great guy. Great to have you on the show, Ian.
Well,
Really
it's
is.
lovely to be here because it's so funny. It's been so long. Every day during filming of Lord of the Rings, before I even started on that book, what was the first website I visited over 12, 13 years ago was TheOneRing.net. So it's great to be part of it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
That's so wonderful, so wonderful. Yeah, you know, the community is as strong as ever, and it's just wonderful that everybody kind of sticks together. You know, Tolkien fandom is one of the most unique fandoms in the world.
It is, even though they're polarized by the desolation of Smaug, there's a lot of people who are having a love-hate relationship with it. The fans are still plopping down billions of dollars to go and see the movies, and they're no less vociferous than they ever were.
Well, I think we can only look at sales of the Lord of the Rings location guide here in New Zealand. 10 years on, we're still selling as many each month now as what we were 6 or 7 years ago, and we're up to about the 400,000 mark, which is just shows the length and breadth of fandom around the world.
Wow,
That's incredible.
that is incredible.
That's amazing. Well, let's get another question.
Let's do
going.
another question. Ian, do you have a Hobbit-specific location guidebook question that we can use to challenge our fans? Because I'm looking at the Lord of the Rings guidebook.
I've got an interesting question, and it's all about the Troll Shores. And
The Troll Shores, yes.
Troll Shores, and it's filmed at a place in the North Island, and the name of the place is named after the lady owner of the farm, and it's something Bluffs is where it was filmed.
Ooh. Okay, that's
that's the question to win a copy of Ian Brodie's The Hobbit Location Guidebook.
where were the trolls sequence in the Troll Shores? Where was that filmed? Somewhere on the North Island of New Zealand.
Called Blank Falls.
Is it Blank Falls?
No, Blank Bluffs.
Oh,
Bluffs.
Blank Bluffs. Blank Bluffs.
Sorry.
Okay, forgive us.
I'm a terrible person.
And it's named after someone who has a local farm adjacent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So text us at 530-64-FRODO.
530,
Text the answer.
number 6, number 4, FRODO. That's going to be very interesting because I don't even know. Maybe if somebody had been watching the behind the scenes from An Unexpected Journey, they may have talked about it.
They do indeed.
So even if you don't have a copy,
is in the film background material, and it's in my book as well.
So it's on the appendices. If you're
Is
a
it-
true Hobbit fan, you'll have seen this
we have
in the appendices.
we have our first answer. Is it Denize?
It is indeed.
It is. It's
Well
Denise.
done.
How do you pronounce that?
Denise.
Denise Bluffs. There it
That
is.
is it.
Yes, we've got our winner.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Excellent. Denise Bluffs. And
We had another answer just come in saying
no,
Stansbury.
wait a minute. Simply Smaug is trying to win both copies. You can't answer and win the second copy when you've already won the first one. Come on. Ha, ha, ha.
Billy Goat Gruff Bluffs.
That's funny, Billy Goat Gruff Bluffs. These-
When the trolls are under the bridge.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
That's wonderful. So we'll get your details. For that's the right answer, Denise Falls.
and is that Fosuina who got that right? Wow. Wow, I think that is you. All right, that would be our first answer.
So we'll get your
Denise
shipping
Bluffs.
details, and we'll email those to Ian Brodie. And are these copies going to be signed?
Yes, I'll sign them to the person that won the prize, and they'll be sent off by New Zealand Mail early next week.
Beautiful, beautiful. I have your email address, Mr. Ian Brodie, so
Excellent.
I can let the winners get directly in touch with you. And
Yes.
what a pleasure to have you here at the same time that the other staff members of TheOneRing.net are over there with you.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. I love having people with me live in London and Los Angeles and in New Zealand at the exact same time. It just makes me feel like I'm really crossing the globe universally at the same time. I just love it.
But the cool thing, Cliff, is I'm actually in your future because it's Wednesday here.
You are in.
That's some Matrix stuff going on right now.
You are bending my brain beyond. That was like taking the blue pill. I can't even do that.
Well, but before we let you go on the end of this week's show, just a couple of questions. What's your favorite scene and location from the new Hobbit trilogy?
Great.
Ooh, I think it's actually where the Eagles take the dwarves and one very frightened hobbit up to the Eyrie.
Is that actually on top of a big bluff?
Yes, it is. And the bluff, of course, is computer generated,
Uh-huh.
but the actual place is real, and it's in the South Island of New Zealand. And when you see them flying over a waterfall, that is the Sutherland Falls in the South Island of New Zealand.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's the highest waterfall in the country. So you're actually flying with the eagles, and I think that just showcases our landscape so well.
That's excellent. And then
it's gorgeous.
a question from the chat room. How long did it take to put together this new book?
I've been on this book for about 18 months, I guess. I got the really tough job, which was actually after filming was completed, visiting every single one of the locations and photographing it. So it's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it. So I did travel around New Zealand, but then it took about 6 months to write. And of course, it's a fully approved book with 3'7" Warner Brothers. So there was work involved with them. It disappeared to the printers 7 months ago, and then you almost forget about it, and all of a sudden a book arrives in the courier, and there it is.
How beautiful.
But that's different than how movies are made, where Peter Jackson will be editing the film all the way up until the hour that they put it in a cinema.
Well, that's the funny thing. I'm talking to you now, and I'm in fact finishing my next book, which is a book about a miniseries that's just been shot in Norway. So,
Ooh, nice.
The Heavy Water War, and that's an enhanced ebook, and that comes out on the 1st of December on the Apple iStore.
That's fantastic.
That's
so is
super good.
Any chance we'll be seeing you here in LA for the Hobbit premiere in December?
No, I won't be in LA in December. I would love to be, but one day Cliff owes me a beer, so I've got to go and see him.
Yes, you know I do, Ian. When you arrive here in LA, we're going to take you to the best beer in town. Trust me.
Excellent.
We'll have a proper pint of 1420.
Does it really come in pints in America?
It does. It comes in pints. I'm getting me one.
I'll be there.
So good. Oh, so good. So lovely to have you. And I've got to say, Ian, congratulations, sir, on the launch of your second book. And we're going to instruct all of our fans in all time zones around the world to grab their copies at Amazon.com. And thank you very much for being on our show.
My absolute pleasure. I've got a Facebook page, Ian Brodie Photo, within Facebook, and I keep having competitions there, so I invite anybody and everybody to come and join me on Facebook as well.
Oh, the giveaways are not done yet. There's more copies to give away, okay? Find our friend Ian Brodie on Facebook, and again, within Facebook it's at
Ian Brodie Photo, facebook.com/Ian Brodie Photo.
Yeah, facebook.com/Ian Brodie Photo.
We just got one last question from the chat room.
Mm-hmm. Last question of the night.
A budding photographer asks, what camera do you use?
I use a Nikon D800, which is a 36 megapixel camera. Love it. My first book was taken with transparencies with the Nikon F4. Now digital with the D800, and I'm just absolutely delighted with the results.
And for all these landscape shots, what glass are you using?
I've got 3 different lenses: 14 to 24. 24 to 70 and 70 to 200, all f2.8.
And that's how you get these wonderful photographs that are featured in your book?
Yeah, it's a great camera. I'm just so delighted with this Nikon D800. It's the worst thing is, of course, you get so happy with it, then they bring out a new one.
Yeah, they do.
Give me another whole truckload of money for another camera, please.
Yeah.
It's just like the people who are still standing in line at the Apple store to get the new Apple iPhone 6.
I know. I want one, and I can't have one for another 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. But I just bought my iPhone 5S. Now I've got a new one to buy.
Exactly.
And now they're doing that with all these Blu-ray, DVD, extended edition.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is what a real treat, and what a real treat to be able to share some trivia from these films.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. It's wonderful.
Don't worry. We'll have you perhaps come on another day when we can set up double cameras, and we'll have a really, really strong signal so that we can have a live video split screen with you, and we'll chat more another day.
That would be great, and I can do a bit of a show and tell with some images.
That'd
Love
be great.
that. Oh, that'd be so good. Give my regards to Russell and everyone there at the sheep farm.
I will indeed.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Ian.
Catch you later.
Fantastic.
And thank you for joining us here on Torn Tuesday. This has been a wonderful week. If you're just catching the podcast or the YouTube video afterwards, obviously we just gave away the 2 copies.
And congratulations to our 2 winners, Simply Smaug, and our other lovely winner who
Christina.
said Denise Bluffs, which was the answer from Helen, who is online as Fosuina. I think I said it wrong. Fosuina. And then there's words I can't pronounce because I don't even speak English anymore.
Well, this has been a wonderful. Thank you for booking Ian for this show. It's been wonderful. Thank you for letting me rant on the lack of comedy editing. I think there's potential, and we've got 6 weeks until the movie. Next week, Next week we'll have a trailer, so we'll be doing a frame by frame analysis.
Oh, that's what everyone wants.
And so you won't want to miss that. We've seen the trailer. We can't talk about it, otherwise Warner Brothers will slit our throats. But next week, frame by frame analysis, you won't believe what's in the trailer.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. What do you mean? The
only thing I can confirm is Saruman. So, until next week, I'm Justin, that's Cliff.
Hello, and goodbye, and thank you for joining us. And very big congratulations to all of our winners around the world.
And Cliff's going to tell you where you can follow us as I walk to the computer.
Yeah, well, sure. You're going to follow us on TheOneRing Net. If you're on Twitter, follow us at TheOneRing Net. If you're on Facebook, find us as TheOneRing Net. And you can always follow me and listen to my crazy ramblings at QuickBeam2000. Justin over there, he's at Justin's Big Idea. That's all of us on Twitter. It's a lovely day. Go back out to the ballot, go back out to the polling place, and vote and exercise the greatest American right that we have in this representative democracy.
How many?
Go and vote.
how many times was Samwise voted mayor of the Shire?
Oh gosh, Samwise became mayor of the Shire over and over and over again. He was elected, I lost count.
7.
7 times?
7 times, 7-year.
I lost count. That's excellent. Good for you, Sam.
So Sam is democratically elected. Your man Sam.
And where would Frodo be without his Sam?
And where would the Shire be without Mayor Sam?
Have a great night. Sorry, Emily, we couldn't get you on the chat, but have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Au revoir, mes enfants. Bye-bye.